All right, so let's talk about email footers. How the heck are we supposed to make sure that these are working in Highlevel in a way that's just easy peasy? I don't want to have to think about it every time I'm writing an email or every time I'm writing an email in a different place than maybe I wrote it last time. Is it a one-off email? Is it a workflow email? Is it a templated email in some way? I just want to make sure that it's easy for us to get the footer in there consistently. And I don't want to have to think about whether I'm the one doing it or whether someone on our team is doing it, or maybe the client is doing it. So I'm Kristen and I'm from Email to Inbox, and we're going to walk through how to do an email footer that can be consistent across the board when you're using Highlevel. Okay, so this is sort of the layman's version of CAN-SPAM Act. I'll throw the link into the help doc that we're going to create out of this. And so there are basically 7 things that need to be done to follow along with CAN-SPAM. Make sure you're not getting yourself in trouble. The one I'm going to focus in on, honestly, is number 4, tell recipients where you're located. So your message has to include a valid physical postal address, which is typically in the footer, right? And it can be your current street address, or it can be a post office box, or it could be any private mailbox that you've registered with a commercial mail receiving agency, as long as it's, registered with the US Postal Service. And then you have to tell recipients how to opt out of receiving future emails from you. So it has to include some kind of it says clear and conspicuous explanation of how the recipient can opt out of getting email from you in the future. And you can, do that however you want to, basically, but you just have to make sure that they have a way to do it. And then, of course, you have to honor those opt-out requests promptly. They give you 10 business days to do it, but basically, with Highlevel, that's so easy because, of course, we can just mark them as a D&D the minute it happens. And then one other thing I'll just call out on here, just because I think a lot of people just aren't aware of it. As marketers, they hold us equally responsible. So, take that however you want to, but basically it gives you the opportunity to kind of like say, listen, we need to have a CAN-SPAM compliant footer in all of these messages that are considered commercial. And that's one other thing that I would just point out, is that this is not going to apply just to bulk email. It covers all commercial messages. All commercial messages. And down here, they give you some examples of like, well, what if my message has some commercial stuff in it, but it also has transactional? How do I know whether it's considered a commercial message? And so you can kind of read through this and get an idea of how they work it. Anyway, long story short, just want to make sure that our footer is compliant. And so we're going to go into this account, and we're going to go over to marketing. And I'm just going to show you how I would sort of configure a footer initially. I would go straight into templates underneath email marketing, and I would open up a new template, and I would throw a footer element in it just so that we can use it as a starting point. If this is the footer element in the templates, then it would make sense that it would probably be the footer element in any email that you send. Obviously, as long as it's commercial, right? You don't have to put it in your transactional emails, but if you want to, you can. So I'm just going to reformat this a little bit. So I'm just going to center it basically, and I'm just going to grab all of this copy, and I'm going to just copy it with my keyboard, and then I'll show you what we do with it. So I use this as a starting point, an idea bank, right? It has a lot of the stuff that I would want in it, mostly the way that I would probably want it. And so I'm just going to grab all of this stuff, and then I'm going to do something else with it. So I'm going to go back now. I'm not going to save this because I'm not actually updating that right now. I'm just using it as a place to get the information. And then we create a template, an email template, right? Just a bare bones basic one. We create an email template, and we just call it star. Usually I call it email footer, just so that it's really easy to find. Let me just fix that in here because I should have had that done. We usually call it star email footer just so it's nice and at the top. And then we throw this content down here, which I've already done. So what I just copied out of the template, I'm now putting into this email template. And then we change it to put in the actual address the way that we want it to display. And I think the other question on the footer that I had copied was slightly different than this, but we usually change it to something like, want to change how you receive our commercial emails. And then we have this unsubscribe. And then the unsubscribe can be whatever you want, like as long as it does the job, right? So Most of our clients, we just create an unsubscribe page and, just use it as a way for people to get confirmation that they're actually unsubscribing. For some of our clients, we might take them to a page where they get to choose what they're unsubscribing from, as opposed to what they still want to get. And we might even change the word unsubscribe to something like, manage your email preferences or something like that. So however you do it is fine, as long as they have an option to unsubscribe from all commercial communication. And that was part of what was over here in the can spam. They have to have an option to opt out of all commercial communication. So that's what all of this is about. But you can give them options to unsubscribe from, certain types of communication as well, as long as you offer the all option with it. So now that I have this configured the way I want, I've just added some space above the top. I've changed the words around a little bit. I went ahead and, connected my unsubscribe trigger link in here. So now I'm just going to take this whole source code. I'm going to grab this. I'm copying it with my keyboard and I'm going to scoot out of here because, again, this is just sort of like a drawing pad. I'm just, kind of playing with how I want it to look in here so that I can get it just the way I want it. And then we're just going to leave this here because I can always come back and change it later if I want to, and then, update what I'm about to do. But then I'm going to go over to settings and I'm going to go to custom values and I'm going to create a custom value and I'm going to call it the same thing, star email footer, just so it rises to the top of the list when I'm looking for it. And I'm going to paste that big long string of source code in here. And I'm going to hit create and you're going to see kind of one of the ugliest custom values probably ever. But it's changeable, right? So like if you decided that you wanted to say something different in your footer, then you can just go change it in the email template I was just in. And then you can recopy the source code and come in here and edit this one, take out the source code, put in the new source code and update it, right? But now we have an email footer that is basically the way that we want it to be. So let's go try it out. We're going to go over to automation and I'll go into an email that we're crafting and just show you how easy it is to make sure that this is in our emails. This is one way you could do it. So you could just write the email and then instead of having all of this stuff in here, you just write the email, you go down one space below whatever the last thing is that you're writing, even if it's a PS, like maybe there's a PS down here, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then you're just going to go down here one space. And then I'm just going to hit my custom values option and I'm going to go down to custom values. And then if you have more, obviously I only have one, so it's not that exciting, but if you had more, then you could go to the email footer because it'll be right at the top of the list. So easy to find, right? So I'm just going to pop that in here. And then just for fun, let's go ahead and just test it. So I'm going to send this to myself. Email to inbox.com. I'm just going to send this to myself and make sure that it shows up the way that I'm expecting it to. So let's give that just a second. And it showed up on my phone just now. So hopefully it's going to show up in here as well. There we go. So this is the footer and you can see all the crazy PS stuff that I added here, but it just adds the space. It centers the footer. It brings it in exactly as we wanted it to. There's the unsubscribe link. If I was to click on that, it would just take me to an unsubscribe page that confirms that I've successfully unsubscribed, or wherever you want to take them. It's totally up to you. But that's how we do that. And so you can use that in any email that you want to. You can pop it into any of these emails. Let me just save this action real quick here. Probably should take out the PS. But you can put them in any emails like that. You could also, if you're just like sending somebody an email, you could just come down here, and write your email. Let's go test. Or why isn't it letting me in there? That's weird. Anyway, well, I'm not sure why that's not working. That is an odd duck. There we go. I just had to redo it. So you could just type in whatever you're going to type in, hit the enter button, and then the same thing, you're just going to go custom values, email footer, pop it right in there, and we can send that. Let me just send it from Dave. Dopemarketing.com. I'm going to go test, and then we'll just send that. Okay. And so now I should see that one popping in here. There it is. And so when I open that up, it just has the whatever the words were that I wrote, some space, it's centering it, and you can see how that's going to work. Now you can go back into your actual template, like your real template, right? Template. Ta-da! And let's say you put the footer element in here because you've got your whole thing all written and it's beautiful. And then what you could do is you could just delete all of this, right? And you could do the same thing, custom values, email footer. There you go. So now whatever's gonna be sent here, and maybe I should throw a little something in there to add. Let's just send something. Let's just heading, add text to your email. This is gonna be a test, right? And then I'm gonna save the template. Actually, I should probably put who it's from. Hold on. Let me just go do this. From Dave. Actually, it's gonna be from me, Kristen Test, and I'll send it from Dave's address.com. And then this is just going to be a test template footer. I'm going to save. Okay, and I'm going to send a test email. Oh, could have done that right here. Dave at dopemarketing.com. Send a test to Moa. Let's see. Kristen, email to inbox.com. Testing template footer. Send the test email. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at how this actually shows up. Just showed up on my phone. There it is. Testing templated footer. So there you go, right? So you have your email, more of the templatized version of it, right? And then that footer just created this space and then added this stuff to the bottom of it, and it works the same way as what you would expect. So I hope that's helpful. That was really just all I wanted to show you. That's how we create a footer that's basically consistent across the board, whether we pop it into a templated email, whether we pop it into a handwritten email, just a one-off thing, whether we put it into the emails we're crafting inside of workflows maybe, or other, plain text templates, or even, I didn't show you this, but even if you wanted to go in to your personal profile and add that as, part of your signature, you could totally do that. All of those things work just fine. But now you have a single custom value that has the exact same footer, no matter how it's done, no matter who's doing it. And so you're not, worrying about whether it's going to be the way you want it to be or the way that the client needs it to be. And there you go.